What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today, ZBCN. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it. It is the 20th day of October, and here we are at $0.0038 with 9 hours and 23 minutes left in the day. It's a little bit disappointing, isn't it? Every time that you see your coin, and I'm not saying every time like this is ZBCN's story, but just any time that you see your coin red and the rest of the list, at least predominantly, is green, right? Why is it that my coin is red but everything else is green? Don't worry about it, right? You did not choose the wrong project. Everything is up 1% or 2 today. You're down 1% or 2 today. It's not a big deal. Things take their turns. So if you're looking at the market, if you're looking at Bitcoin moving up and you're seeing ZBCN move down, and you're like, is this thing broken? Did I choose the wrong thing? Don't think like that. Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. The market largely right now is consolidating, and that's all you're doing. You're just consolidating. Okay. It's possible, quite possible, and we've talked about this over the past few days extensively, that you do see prices just below this area here. Right? Yesterday I was calling for a move down to about 0033, 0031. It's very possible that we do see something in that zone there. I wouldn't be surprised if we did get a little fake out down to that area. Yes, we had one already, but I don't think that was real. I don't think that should be considered as real price action. In my opinion, this wick would have never happened if the exchanges weren't down, right? I think it would have never happened. Maybe it would have happened to some degree, but it wouldn't have happened this dramatically. Anyways, wouldn't surprise me if we did see slightly lower prices than this white line here, and that's okay if we do. If we do go below 0036, that is not a problem. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom back out. We'll see what the likelihoods are that we have found a low and that we move up, or that we are going lower. Let's just look and see what the probabilities are here. Looking at the 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame here, you do have higher lows, which is nice to see higher lows and higher highs, right? Let's look at something with some volume on it. Looking at it here, not a lot of volume on the way down, a little bit of volume on the way up. I'm not really convinced one way or another at the moment, but I do want to, I would like to think that you're finding support here. The RSI is convincing me that we are finding support here and that we're moving up. That's nice to see. Higher lows right here. You got overbought, you're not getting oversold. That's nice to see, right? Found support at the 50, though you did come down afterwards. That's okay. Stochastics are starting to cross up. If we could get the stochastics to cross up and the MACD to bounce off the zero, that would actually be very compelling evidence that this is a low point here. So I would say all you got to do really is get a 1 hour time frame to close above here. Close above this point of resistance, close above that point of support, get above 00393. Effectively, just get above 004. Once you get above there again, and don't just get above there, but close above there on a 1 hour or higher time frame. Once you do that, you're not necessarily validating that this is the low point, but you really do start to look good for seeing higher highs, right? And if you are going to see higher highs from a high to a low, the expectation might be 00423, 00447, or sorry, 437. If we look at the high here to a low there, that's nice in itself, but even a move up to 00423 to 00437, even a move up here does not absolve you of going lower. You can still move up here, get a higher high, and still move lower. You absolutely can. So if you want to validate this area as a low area, and validate the idea that you are moving higher, then what we need to see is something above 0045, let's just say. 0045. Whenever we get a 4 hour time frame or a daily time frame, something in that kind of zone or higher to close above 0045, that would likely validate that we have found a low in this area. That'd be my expectation. 1 hour time frame looks good enough right now. I feel confident enough to say that you probably do find support here and move higher. I'm just not confident enough to say that you're absolved of moving below these lows afterwards, right? Maybe you move up, maybe you find resistance here, then you move down, maybe you move up, you get above 004 and you actually close above there on a 1 hour or 4 hour basis, and we take out this high and we still move down. You know, we could move up here and then we could move up higher. I'm not just because I keep talking about the downside doesn't mean that I'm convinced that's what we're going to see. At this point in time, I'm relatively neutral with a momentary bullish leaning expectation, right? Again, we have to get above 004. 00393, I think is what it was, but let's just say 004, close above there on a 1 hour time frame or higher time frame. That would likely validate this as a momentary low, if anything, and at least validate us to take out this high. and then we set ourselves up to potentially validate this as a low area overall to take out that high. We'll see. We'll see. 4-hour time frame here, zooming out. The RSI is very neutral, not really helpful at all. Typically, and ZBCN does like to do this, where it'll bounce between the 40 and the 60, and then it'll pick a side, right? You bounce off the 40. You went a little bit up here, bouncing in these areas. Typically, though, that's actually pretty common for ZBCN, right? 60, 40, 60, 40, and then you picked a side. Looks like you're doing that now, right? More or less. We'll see if you pick a side to the upside. Overall, I would say that this RSI does look bearish inherently, but there's some bullish things going on too. It's neutral, but with a bearish tilt. What makes it neutral? So what makes it neutral is we're not really getting overbought or oversold, right? Not really. Okay. What makes it bearishly leaning? Well, you are predominantly living below the 50, right? Moments just of fresh air above the 50, but predominantly below the 50, right? So neutral overall, but with a bearish tilt for sure, which would disagree with what I saw in the 1-hour time frame. The stochastics would suggest we go lower as well, and the 4-hour MACD does as well. So maybe I misinterpreted the 1-hour. Let's look at that again. I like the RSI right there. And the stochastics give me hope to move up. The MACD, I don't know. Something's got to give. Something's going to prove to be wrong here. Maybe we do shape up the RSI. Maybe we do. I don't know. The 4-hour is more significant than the 1-hour. If the 4-hour is bearish, you should listen to the 4-hour over the 1-hour. So with that, we're going to backtrack a little bit, but perhaps we do move lower. Perhaps we don't move higher. And if that's the case, if we do move lower, let's take this low to high here. The expectation then would be about 0033 to 0031, maybe 0029 at the lowest, but I doubt that we go to 0029. I really doubt that we break below 0031 at all. Maybe we do move lower. Maybe we move lower first and then we move up. The stochastics make me think that we have lower to go. And we're at this area right here. It would just make sense that we come down. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Daily time frame. So the daily time frame is neutral as well, but with a bullish tilt to it, right? More bullish than bearish for sure, but neutral at the moment, right? Stochastics would suggest we come down. And the MACD would also suggest that we could find support right here, but it probably would more suggest that we go lower. We take this overall low here to this high, not the fake out high. We're consolidating between the 0.5 and the 236 here. If something gives to the downside right there, 0033, that's the golden ratio. We'd find support right in this zone here. We'd come back up. I do not expect, and I still, as of now, I would say that we are still on for the idea of going lower, okay? Regardless if we move up first and then we move down or we just move down. At this point in time, what we were originally thinking in the beginning of the video with the 1-hour time frame, I'm starting to think is not going to happen. I don't think that we move up from here. I think the 1-hour is lying to us and the 4 hours telling us the truth, and we're probably going to go lower. If I'm wrong, great. Great. I hope that I'm wrong. To prove me wrong, I would say all we need to do is close above 0045. Close above 0045, and the chances of you going below this level at all goes out the window. It's very low likelihood. If we get a day to close above 0045, very low likelihood that we do see a 0033 or 0031 price area. Okay. Until then, I remain cautiously bearish. Okay. I expect that whenever we do go down here, it'll be quick, it'll be swift, and then we will recover just as swift. So whatever day it is, maybe it's today, maybe it's tomorrow, that we're down in this area, I would just say blink and then it'll be over, right? Blink and then it'll be over. You don't like it, you don't enjoy it, just blink for 1 minute, hold your breath, close your eyes, and boom, then come back up. If you can't hold your breath for a minute, maybe 30 seconds then, okay? And if you can't hold your breath for 30 seconds, go to a doctor. Something's wrong with you. Here we are, 0038 right now, 9 hours, 14 minutes left in the day. I'm leaning toward the idea that we do move lower. I hope it's very clear as to what my thoughts are here. Inevitably, I do think that we're going to move higher. Absolutely, I do. I'm very, very convinced that ZBCN has dramatically higher prices in mind, higher endeavors to explore. If we're looking at this here from a high to a low, the all-time high for a very long time on Bybit to the low here, you went just above your 1414. came down, found support at the 786, 886, and now you're just buffering in this area. You're probably going to come down, find support right there at the 886, 100 level, somewhere in this zone, and then move up. The next target area intended, because you found resistance at the 1414, would technically be the golden ratio. But I doubt that you spent all this time consolidating just to stop at your next target area. So then with that, I would say that 1.4 cents comes to mind, 1.7 cents, all the way up to 4.6 cents. Is this right? Is that yeah, that is right. It's just a different fib. All the way up there. This lines up very well with our target area, right, that we have of 3 cents to 7.7 cents. It's a lot of this is in that range there. I wouldn't be surprised if, again, the first area of significance that we kind of interact with is at this 1.4 to 1.7 cent area. Typically, you do find resistance here if you find resistance at the 1414, typically, right? So some turbulence there, come down, continue to rally, right? The way I have this drawn, we won't even be above 2 cents until it's like April of 2026. I don't think it's going to take this long. I think things are going to move a lot faster than how I'm drawing it here. I'm just representing what I expect to see maybe on like the daily time frame, stuff like that. But we probably do find some turbulence here. We continue to rally. Overall, I'm anticipating that ZBCN does go to a price of about 4.5 cents or higher. I really am thinking that we see 3 cents at a minimum, 7.7 cents at a maximum. You got a lot of congruence in this area here, and I expect that this is ultimately where we will see ZBCN by the end of 2025, something in that kind of area there. That's where I think the next stopping point of this move is, right? We moved up here, stopping point. The next move up, the next stopping point is going to be at least at 3 cents, at most 7.7 cents, or most likely something in between that area by the end of the year, right? Maybe even by the end of November, right? But I would think we're probably above 1 cent or 2 cent by the end of November, pushing to higher prices going into the end of December. I don't have anything else to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I don't like the weekly RSI right now. There are things I like about it. I guess what I do like about it is that we have higher lows in the price, we have lower lows in the RSI. That is hidden bullish divergence. What I don't like about it is that you've kind of slumped your trend here. I don't like that. I don't like this structure on anything. So invalidate my disliking and just move up. Hold the 50 as support. Don't go too much lower. It's okay if you go lower intro week, but by the end of the week you need to close back up here. We don't want to close below the 50, okay? Stochastics, whatever, MACD, positive overall, whatever. It's not a big deal. But we need to make some moves soon, is all I'm trying to say. When I say soon, it doesn't have to be this week, but soon, right? We don't want to make any moves to the downside on a closing perspective. If we move down, it's okay, but we want to wick down. We want to come back up and close here or higher, right? Moves soon, that's what we're looking for. And if we get them, 3 cents to 7.7 cents awaits. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Take care of yourselves. Bye.